During this past Lenten, I was in the city of Vienna in Austria, right after the Italian Carnevale, the ancient celebrations just before the advent of Lenten. The theme of this podcast would have been probably more appropriate then, but I never got around to share it with you, so I'll do it now. In Vienna, the Carnival does not appeal to the Austrian culture, but life runs smoothly and everyone seems on board with whatever else is celebrating. There is a lot to do here for visitors and locals, especially in the historic city center, a reminder of the old and majestic Austrian-Hungarian Empire. The architecture alone will consume most of your day, as the tourist office often reminds you to learn about Vienna. Never look down on the sidewalk, but always look up, referring to the enormous details under the building's parapets. And once you are here, consider the famous loop around the city. In addition to the city hiking trails called the Ronde, it's also worth mentioning a circular hiking trail all around Vienna. It is about 120 kilometers long, and if you are a patient type or have the time available, you can cover them all. But if you have less challenging goals, you can choose to go through just some of the 24 divided stages. The length is between 3 and 10 kilometers, and it is practically all about walking and always in complete tranquility. A good example is Stage 6, which leads from the Hütteldorf underground station to the Leinzer Tor, the getaway to the Leinzer Tiergarten Nature Reserve. Incidentally, that's the one that I did, and I really, truly enjoyed it. Empress Sissi loved to retreat in Hermes Villa, and you can visit it today. It was built especially for her with her personally designed restaurant and eclectic features reflecting her unique personality. The park borders the Wiener Wald, annexing the biosphere reserve that offers a largely untouched habitat for all types of animals, birds, and exotic specimens, perhaps the most well-kept in all of Europe. This large wooded area is particularly appreciated for its peace and tranquility from the initial part of the spring to late in autumn. And furthermore, Vienna proclaims the most significant per square kilometer coffee shops in Europe. And I believe it is correct. One of them, the Greusesbach, is located on Nielischgasse number 96 and 98. And please forgive my perhaps mispronounced ways of a Germanic language here. I hope I'm not offending anyone. But once you've entered the Greusebach, you will face an octagon-shaped pastry case, smack right in the center, and filled with culinary paintings of Austrian, German, and Anglo-Saxon sweets. They are all neatly positioned in particular shapes and colors. It is here that I find the famous Krapfen. They are available throughout the city and the country, but Greusbach beats them all. Puffy, fragrant, succulent, and perfectly round. Their Krapfen will win you over, making it almost impossible to remove yourself from the spectacle. And as I bit into one of them, immediately my mind returned to my childhood in Italy, where something like that, or something like a Krapfen, is called bombolone, which is cream-filled fried dough rolled in a thick coating of granulated sugar. The Krapfen is a sweet of Austrian-German origin, which is spread in Italy first in the north, in the Dolomites area, and then it reached the south, undergoing through the way in some minor transformations. That is probably the first European-style donut, followed by similar varieties in other nations. I learned that there are two schools of thought on the origin of the name. It could derive from the surname of City Krapfen, a pastry shop in Vienna who invented this dessert toward the end of the 17th century, or it could derive from the Old German word Krapfen, which means hook or claw. The pastry initially had an elongated shape, but a round form prevailed through time, and the leavening dough is deep fried until golden and crispy on the outside, while the center remains soft, light, and hairy on much part of the inside. Filled with fresh pastry cream of all types, and then rolled in sugar, as we said. The original filling of the Austrian dessert is with apricot jam, but in Italy, the custard is used more often, in some cases even replaced with the chocolate cream. They are also available plain or with just sugar coating. There is a Krapfen for every one of us. The origin of the word Krapfen dates back to the 9th century in Germany, but some evidence shows the dessert available as early as the 14th century, and after that has spread through many Central European countries, which adopted the technique by using different regional names. Consequently, Krapfen in Germany goes under names such as Berliner Pfannkuchen or Fasches Krapfen, Krebel or Kreppel. And again, please forgive my pronunciation in Germanic language. The sweet version of the pastry became a predominant and have remained closely associated with the Carnival, a festive period that precedes the Christian Lent. Interestingly, during the Carnival, one Krapfen in a batch filled with jam and fruit may contain mustard filling as a prank that children do to each other. In Poland, for instance, they are known as packi. The Hungarians refer to them as funk, and the Slovaks call them siski. In Slovenia, it is better known as krofi, while the familiar name throughout Croatia, Bosnia, and Serbia is krofne or krafne. Well, if we move to St. Petersburg in Russia, they are called pishki, which refers to Krapfen, either ring-shaped or without a hole. And most bakeries have been preparing the original recipes since the late 50s, at least in Russia. Well, my friends, I don't expect you to remember the Krapfen name in other languages, and all you need to know is that if you're in Vienna, sample some. Look for some of them because they are all around you, or perhaps you will find a great bakery near you, wherever you are in this world, that makes them. Either way, they will taste delicious, and I'm sure. I hope you enjoyed this podcast on Krapfen. It was an experience that I wanted to share with you. And that is all for this episode on Flavors and Knowledge. Please follow the podcast on Anchor.fm or any of your preferred platforms. Follow us on our YouTube channels under the Chef Walter's Cook and School page for brief educational videocasts. If you are in the kitchen today or tonight attempting to make a Krapfen, but you don't have a recipe, you can email me at feedback@chefwalter.com. I will have all this information on the show notes. We'll reconnect on the next round with another interesting food talk and few opinions. Be safe. Ciao, ciao.